This is Real Oregon Lifestyle with Andrea Fay and Jenn Fiddler, two licensed real estate brokers who share their love of all things Oregon.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrea Fay.
And I'm Jenn Fiddler.
And welcome to Real Oregon Lifestyle. Today, we're going to talk about the 4th of July and the fact that it's just probably not going to be the same this year in 2020.
Sure isn't.
No. I was looking up festivities online earlier today, and I noticed that just about everything is canceled. In the Valley, Corvallis, Albany, Philomath, they've all had their own little fireworks displays and festivities and things like that, and they're all canceled.
That's really sad. The Lebanon one is great. They did that big wall of fire at the end. I loved that one. That's sad to see.
Yeah, it's super sad. I do know that the Philomath Frolic, which is next weekend, July 10th, they're still going to do their fireworks display, even though they can't do the Frolic. So anyone that really, really wants to see fireworks, then you can go see those ones. But in the meantime, I think that means that we're all stuck in our own backyards this year. And for us, what that means is we're going to be doing some work on the yard.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that with COVID and being at home more. And I noticed all my neighbors have. And that got us kind of thinking about real estate and how all these projects relate to real estate and how people can improve their homes and their backyards. And so we thought that'd be a fun one to talk about today.
Absolutely. We're actually getting ready to tear down part of our fence with our neighbor. And I feel very lucky that our neighbor has worked in construction, so he actually knows what he's doing. Nathan has some construction skills too, and I know he can build fences. That's something he could handle, but it's nice to know that we're working with somebody that knows what they're doing and they can knock it out really quickly. But I'm really excited about it. We're going to spend a little bit of money on the fence, but all of our fences have been falling down and they're becoming a safety hazard because I think when they originally installed them, they just didn't do a great job, and the fence posts are all rotted out, and now it's looking bad. So it'll be nice to upgrade all that.
Honestly, there's nothing better than a new fence. That fresh wood, especially like the first 3 months before it starts raining a lot here in Oregon and they start to discolor. I love the look of a fresh fence. I know it's a silly little thing, but I love it.
No, it's not silly at all. It's so pretty.
It is. I
love the color of it.
It's funny that you say working with somebody that has some skills. So I share a fence with my neighbor on I guess that would be the right side of the house. And he did his own fence. And let's just say it took, I would say, probably 3 or 4 months to do about 100 feet of fencing.
Wow.
He took down each individual fence board, replaned it, cut off all the rotten bottoms. So now when you look at the fence, it's all uneven on the bottom, which is on my side, and I have to look at it.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but he was a fan because he recycled, which I can appreciate. I mean, that was kind of cool. Environmental conscious people are always, I like that, but it's a little funny on the fence. So we did our other side on the left side of the house. Grayson did it in about 4 hours in a weekend, and we kept watching the neighbor, and it's like months and months and months went by. But now we've got 2 sides of our fence done, and we'll get the third done at some point.
Well, to each their own. Everybody has different skill levels, and yeah, I don't think that would have been the choice I would have made. As far as cutting off the bottoms like that, that's weird.
It was weird, but it'll fill in eventually with some bark dust and it'll look fine.
Yeah, that's the key, to keep out the snakes.
Yes.
At least our property backs up to kind of like a green area, and we've seen it. There's lots of brush and trees, and the snakes love it back there. There's a little bit of water. It's slightly marshy, and the snakes like to get into our backyard and warm up on our bark dust. I thought that would deter them, but apparently it doesn't. They like the warmth of it. So anyway, but I do have an agreement with the snakes right now that they are not to frighten me. They've done a good job ever since I had a talk with them. They did frighten Nathan the other day, but that just happens. And we're in snake territory.
I mean, yeah, you're impeding on their territory right there. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I am excited. Bark dust is my friend, and especially when all of the fence is actually built, then I'm gonna bring in more bark dust and make it nice and fluffy, and makes it all presentable anyway.
Yeah, I always tell people, not to bring it back exactly to real estate, but when you're selling your house, if you can spend some time just putting in bark dust around the edge of the lawn or in the front, it's amazing what that does for curb appeal and in pictures and just making the house have that final detail that really takes it to the next level.
I think so. The contrast between the colors of the bark dust and like grass makes it just pop.
Yeah.
It highlights the house.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we were talking about it a little bit earlier before the podcast of, what people are doing and kind of looking around. I know in my neighborhood, one of my neighbors has built this huge overhang over the back of his house, been working on his yard a ton. And I've just kind of been walking and noticing how much people are doing with their yards since they've been in quarantine, basically. And it's been really cool to see our neighborhood. I mean, not that it looked bad before, but it's really transformed and gone to a whole new level of how much nicer it looks with people having more time on their hands.
That's awesome. It's nice that everyone has all this time because it is true. Most of our neighbors are working towards better yards. Not all of them, but they are, most of them. I'm really excited. I'm going to have a new gate installed. And I was driving around one day showing property, and I went through this really cute neighborhood. I was in Monmouth, and everybody had these cute little gates. And I was like, I want a cute little gate like that too. So Andy, will you put the picture of the gate? See that? That's my gate right there.
Oh, that is cute.
I like the rounded top. This kind of adds something to it.
Yeah, I like that.
Probably won't be doing like that style of fencing. I'm going to do the arbor though. Oops, sorry.
Nice.
Kicking you under the table here. I'm going to do the arbor, and then I'm going to do the rounded top.
Cute. I like it.
Yeah.
Real quick, producer's note, you guys. I'm a homeowner now. Andrea, you helped me find a house. I am a big fan of this. I think that my wife would really, really like this. It kind of has like a secret garden feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like inviting. I think it also helps, like if you look at the slate pathway, that also kind of makes it, like, draws you in, between those two things. But
yeah, I really like that a lot. I'm a big fan of anything you can do decorative. I like gazebos. I like covered patios, all of it. Anything for a cute outdoor living space or making the entry to the backyard look good. I'm all about it.
I think we're going to paint the gate too.
Nice.
We probably won't paint the rest of the fence, but I want that highlight of the gate itself. I'm trying to decide. Our front door is, I think it's called midnight blue, and our house is gray. I'm like, okay, do I go midnight blue on the gate, or do I go something lighter?
I wouldn't call that a midnight blue. I think it's kind of a bright color.
Yeah.
I would call that more of like I don't want to say aqua, but it's brighter than what I would consider midnight blue. I think that would look really cool.
Yeah, midnight blue may not be the right word for it.
No.
Yeah, it is brighter than that. It's more, I don't know, turquoise-y, teal-y, maybe teal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that would be really cool to have the door and the gate match.
Yes.
Anyway,
that would be cute.
What other projects are you guys working on in your backyard?
Well, we basically have done an overhaul of the landscaping. So the lady that lived there, that owned the house, rented it to somebody for 2 or 3 years before we bought it. And I just think that, they didn't have any interest in landscaping at all. So we cleaned up all the bushes. We had a landscaper come over and just kind of give us a fresh start of, cleaning everything up, making it shaped correctly and all of that kind of stuff. Grayson's been really working on our yard. I think that they just put grass seed over like when they do like builder fill, but they don't do topsoil.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought about digging out our grass completely if we couldn't get it to grow back and look good. But Grayson's been watering it twice a day and putting in a ton of fertilizer, and it looks a lot better. It kind of grew together and stuff, so it doesn't look so bad.
Nice.
So we're doing that. I need to sand and stain the deck. That's something that I'm not looking forward to.
That's a project.
Yeah, that'll be a couple of days that I think it'll pay off. It'll look good though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it definitely will.
Yeah, it's kind of this brownish rust color right now, and the house is tan with white trim, so it doesn't
really go.
It doesn't go. I want something different. So
speaking of payoffs, I think to bring us back to real estate a little bit, there are some ROIs on that too, on backyard landscaping. I think you looked some up earlier. What do those numbers look like?
So I found a couple of different resources that said if for every dollar you spend in landscaping, you'll generally get back 60 cents to $2, depending on what you do. That's a pretty good return on investment. And
I think so.
Even more so, something that you can't quantify, when people walk into a house and they see a beautifully landscaped yard and they don't have to put a bunch of money into it, or it's just something that you can... It's kind of something sometimes you can't even quantify in dollars. It's just that feel of, the house is maintained. Somebody really put a lot of love and care and took care of this house. And again, we talked about this in other podcasts, that feeling that you get when you walk into a backyard. I think landscaping absolutely helps sell a house, and that you can't go wrong with doing some basic stuff when you're selling.
I think so too. And I think you're right about the good vibes and stuff with buyers, and it's being able to imagine yourself in the backyard during 4th of July, perhaps, maybe doing a little barbecue, enjoying it with your friends. And if you can imagine that, then it helps sell the property.
Yeah. I think just anecdotally too, I've had more people who have put thought into that than they ever have before. That wasn't necessarily always somebody's concerns, but over the last few months, I've had more people to say a backyard is a big deal to me, or it's a priority, or I want outdoor living space, or my next house is going to have a pool, or whatever that looks like. It's just something that as you're at home more, and I've even done that. I talked to Grayson and I was like, should we just buy a swim spa? I mean, we could have a swimming pool and a hot tub all in one. If we're going to be home all the time, might as well.
Yeah, I think being at home has been making everybody rethink their living space, whether it's inside or outside. And for us, it's definitely outside. And, I think that we probably would have replaced the fence regardless, just because it is a safety hazard. But now it's given us more time to really think like, well, how do we want this to look? And, how do we want to feel in our backyard? And we love being outside. Like, it's one of our favorite things to be outside and just enjoying the garden and enjoying, everything out there. So yeah, I think that's it's awesome. Sounds okay. Maybe I'm being a little bit too positive here, but COVID has really given us the opportunity to experience it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I was having this discussion kind of along those same lines with some friends this morning. And I think the one thing that we all sort of noted is that it makes you appreciate the simple things in life and be satisfied with just being home and being in your yard and being with, a small group of either your family or friends that you're comfortable having over, doing, making your own meals. It's all of the stuff that we kind of take for granted on a daily basis. I know, just kind of along those lines, we've had nights where we didn't have anything to do and we were kind of bored, and we've just sat out on our back deck and played cards, and I haven't done that in years. And so just enjoying some of the simple things, kind of more at home entertaining, and I think everybody's doing that. And I don't know, I will say that is a positive thing that has come out of it.
Yeah, I think so. And on the flip side of doing things to your yard, there are people out there that don't invest in the right things. We do see it occasionally. Yes. We were talking earlier about rock gardens, and we're not talking about pretty river rock. We're talking about the white rock or the lava rock, the unpopular rocks.
Pea gravel.
Oh yeah, pea gravel too.
Oh, just goes everywhere.
It's in your shoes. It's in your socks. uncomfortable. You can't wear sandals.
Nope.
Nobody likes that stuff.
No, I think that's one way that people do go wrong with landscaping is adding in too much of just sheep rock, or lack of a better idea, or they think maybe it's low maintenance, but honestly, grass is really pretty low maintenance. I mean, if you have to mow maybe once a week, is that really that big of a deal?
I don't know if the mowing is some people get concerned about the watering, because then you do have to water. At least in Philomath, we do have a high water bill. But for us, we don't care. We want our backyard to look nice, so we're okay with paying for it. But some people don't want to pay for it. But if you're going to be selling your property, then you should probably pay for it.
If you're selling, definitely water your grass.
Mm-hmm.
I actually years ago listed a house for a lady that was a master gardener, and I had this conversation with her. She taught me a lot in a very short amount of time about how to take care of plants, how to water, when to water. And she said that she does a half an inch once a day, and that was enough. And I was way over watering my yard because I thought, I just need to drench my yard, especially in August and September when it gets really hot around here. And she's like, nope, half an inch once a day, and that's all you need. And
so what does that look like?
Well, for me, when I had underground sprinklers, I don't at my current house, but that was about probably 5 minutes of me, going in the front yard, spraying or running my sprinklers for about 20 minutes.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's not all that bad.
No, that's not bad. I think that's pretty low maintenance. Everybody has. And actually, I shouldn't even say that I did it very often, if I'm being totally honest. It was mostly Grayson.
Okay, so the truth comes out.
Yeah. I should say I water maybe once to his 12 times, to be totally honest.
So, okay, I also know that Grayson doesn't like snakes. Grayson and I share this hatred towards snakes. And I also understand, because we've had some snakes in our backyard too. And again, let's go back to the bark dust. I want to bring in more bark dust. And maybe if I can raise up the bark dust enough along the fence line, they won't get in. It's like my goal in life. But I think that it sounds like you guys had a little experience with some in your backyard.
We did. Grayson is petrified of snakes. I wouldn't even say a little bit scared. It's an absolute fear of his. And I think it's hilarious because they don't bother me at all. Do I want a snake in my bed? No, but I mean, I've held snakes. I don't have any problems with them being around. We're cool. Grayson, on the other hand, is just terrified of them. I can remember probably 3 instances where he's ran over a snake just mowing the lawn and it left him crippled. Anyway, so I'm taking a nap on the couch the other day and I kept hearing this like tap, tap, tap on the back of the house. And I'm like, what is going on? So I go outside and Grayson's got this spatula that's like this long, this metal spatula that we use for barbecuing. And he's tapping the siding. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, there's a snake. And I'm like, okay, like, why are you tapping the house with this metal spatula? So come to find out, he found the snake and it was curled up on the bark dust by the side of our house. And the back of our house gets really hot. So I feel like that's why they hang out there, because that 3 o'clock sun and it just gets brutal back there sometimes. So anyway, he saw the snake. He was trying to actually pick it up and throw it away. That was his goal. So he used the poop scooper that we have for the dog to try and scoop the snake up. And the snake somehow slithered out of it and disappeared and apparently went up underneath the house. So in order to get it out, he thought, I'll just hit the back of the house with a spatula and it'll come right out and then I can pick it up with the poop scooper. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm out there just like cracking up because he is sweating. He's like ghost white, just trembling almost. And I'm like, do you want me to deal with the snake? And he's like, yeah, please. So he sits down in this like chair that we have in the backyard and just watches me. And I get my genius idea is, I'll just get the water hose out and I'll spray it. So I'm spraying up underneath the siding and the snake's not coming out because we think that's where it went, is that it somehow got up underneath the siding where the porch and the siding meet. Never found the snake. Grayson, every time he went to go outside, he was like opening the door, standing there for a few minutes, making sure the snake wasn't coming out, whatever. So we never found the snake. And by the way, he took a picture of it, and it was huge. It was probably like this long.
Okay, we'll give Grayson full credit here.
Yeah.
It was a big snake.
It was a big snake. It wasn't like a baby little friendly garter snake. This thing was huge.
Like a gopher snake?
I don't know what it was because it had like a little bit of a yellow stripe down it.
Oh, that's still a garter snake. That's
Is
just
it?
a really big one.
It was a healthy garter snake. I don't know what this guy was eating, but it was big. It was the biggest snake I've ever seen in my backyard in Oregon. So we still haven't found this snake. It's been, I don't know how many weeks now, and we're convinced that it's somewhere up underneath the siding in our house. Probably like a week to 10 days later, I had house cleaners over, and I was just kind of greeting them at the door and chatting with them. And they're like, the last time we came over, we almost had to leave. And I'm like, why? They said, well, I was cleaning the window and the snake came out and was sitting on the porch, and she's petrified of snakes too. So she started screaming and crying, and all the other ladies are like, what is happening? What's going on? So this snake has just tortured us for weeks now, and we can't find this thing. I think it's hilarious. Everybody else is just totally freaked out and petrified. So I'll let you guys know if I find the snake, long story short.
Okay, well, so on that note, if you know you have snakes in your yard, try and do something about it before you list your property.
Yeah.
Because people like me will scream and yell. Apparently Grayson will too.
And the house cleaners.
Yes, and the house cleaners. So anyway, yeah, so note to self. And also when you're enjoying the 4th of July in your backyard barbecue, also try and remove those snakes.
Yes.
On that note,
If
that's...
you,
I'm
I'm sorry, if you had a big open field on your property, would it be snakes on a plane?
Could be.
Oh,
Yeah, totally. Our producer, Andy, everyone. Anyway, so I think that's all we've got time for today. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. If you are looking for us, go ahead and find us on RealOregonLifestyle.com, on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Thank you.